my goodness. If you had one chance, one opportunity, would you take it? Or are you going to let it slip away? Well, I don't think intentionally any of us are going to let anything slip away. Hey, we got a outstanding day here going on in Louisville, Kentucky today. Um, we're back to 100% force here in our office. Katie's back with us today, and glad to have her back. We only had one thing that we couldn't work through, so that's because we weren't too busy Friday, quite honestly. So, um, but anyways, between me and Daniel and Kyle, we got it worked out. Had Katie help me with one thing today. Was glad to see her roll back in here and get back from her trip to Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, I know it's Cleveland, but anyways, you guys listening to us up in that area? Absolutely. She was up in Cleveland over the weekend in that vicinity anyway, and went up to. I think they had a baby shower to go to, and then it was Alyssa, Katie's roommate's mother's birthday, and we wished her happy birthday Friday. So, anyways, excuse me. That's where we're at. That's where we're at, and then supposed to get up to about 91 today. We're having some summertime preliminary looks at the weather. It looks like, and that'd be a good thing. We got up to I think 89 yesterday or something, right at 90. So we'll see how it pans out. What that means for the rest of this week. Looks like we're going to have a chance of some rain potentially Tuesday night, and into Tuesday night into Saturday. Wow, Jesus. Okay, smoke another one, but yeah, Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, and then clear up and have some decent weather, and then some more scattered activity coming in. We'll see how it all plays out. See how it all plays out. But that's it. I have to reach out to my buddies at BAM, see what they got going. Um, Da-da-da-da. Seth says he's headed to Cleveland for the 4th of July weekend. Cool, man. What's going on up there, Seth? Anything exciting that you're going for? Or is it just a family trip? Or when I say it's just a family trip, I'm not minimizing a trip for you to take. I don't mean that. But, just something in particular you're going for, or just rolling that way. I'm headed toward Hilton Head next week. So, that'll be a fun trip. I've never been over there to Hilton Head, so looking forward to that. And East Coast is the southeast coast. I've been down that way, Charlotte, Winston Salem, High Point, North Carolina. I've done several seminars down in North and South Carolina, but never just the time to just chill out and not do anything. So I'm looking forward to that, and see what that ends up being like. Seth says he's got a family trip, and then the Guardians game that Friday. That ought to be fun. Good deal. Good deal. Hope you all have great weather and safe trip and enjoy it. Um, yeah, Seth. I don't know Hilton Head. Kyle was telling me about it, so um, we're gonna give it a whirl and see what we think about it. Might be a little bougier than I want. I don't know. Is it pretty bougie? Daniel said it's not more bougier than Siesta Key, where that is my destination place. But I love that place. Golly, it's just the comfort of knowing um, where you're going and everything, what to do and all that. So this will be our my first trip down there. Tabitha's never been there. My sister's actually going with us. So I don't know. We're going to have to or I'm going to have to find me a dealer or two to drop in on while I'm in the area. So I'll let y'all know how that goes as well. So I know there's plenty of landscapers down there. No doubt about that. No shortage of landscapers anywhere. So, um, but anyways, hey, that's what's going on here today. And we're out doing a little mowing today. Actually, a lot of mowing today, and little fertilization, weed control, predominantly weed control. We're not fertilizing this time of the year here within our round. So we actually just started our round 3. So there we are. We're about we're moving into our program pretty well now, and had a lady call today a little bit upset with us, and I don't know, was it a timing issue problem, Katie, with our lady? Yeah, yeah. So um, you know, we talked about this the other day about, what are you doing to try to keep people informed and update it? And I don't know, maybe that's something we look at on our sheet too and see who's been out there a while and just reach out to them. But I mean that's the good and the bad of having a nice list, a wait list. It's great to go out and sell the work, but like we talk about is, you can have the best laid plan on keeping people informed and all that, but you do run into this occasionally as well. So, but speaking of running into things, didn't run into anything, but I want to run something by you guys. I don't. How many of y'all watched the Country Music Awards last night? Just curious. I mean, it was. I watched it. Tab and I watched it for a little while and then turned it off. And then I came in this morning and we were talking about it. And I think Katie said she ended up not being really interested, and Kyle wasn't too interested. Uh, so I don't know. Did y'all have the same? Anybody that's listening to us that watched it? Did it seem like it was just not as good as normal? And I don't know. Maybe I don't want to blame it on the host of the show, but I mean, that certainly could have something to do with it, but it just didn't seem as exciting or as good as normal, if you will. So, did y'all watch it, Daniel, by chance?
No, didn't watch that.
Okay. So, you didn't miss much.
Yeah,
Um,
we don't usually tune in for the
yeah.
stuff like that, but it's you know, all the different shows, the country music award show, and I think there's another country show, like a award show that does awards or whatever. And then you have like the what's the other, like not the Grammys. What's the other one though? Like the no, where
Huh.
it's like it's music. Can't remember what it is. But basically, that's kind of even to my point. There's just so many different like award shows where
Yeah.
it's like I get every genre kind of has its own thing going, but like maybe the American, I can't remember.
So
But there's just a
to your
lot of them.
point, there's a lot of them.
So it's
So
like
everybody gets a trophy.
kind of that, but also like, are you diluting the award? You know,
Yeah,
like do people really
could be.
care to watch it for one, which some people do, but also to win, and then also if you're having three or four country music awards during the year, just it's diluted. Like a lot of it just seems like at what point is it
Yeah.
just
How
like you said,
much is
everybody
too
just
much?
give everybody
Uh,
a medal.
yeah. Everybody gets something. But yeah, that's true. So I don't know. It was just it wasn't no big deal, and I'm not making a big deal out of it today. But I just thought I was just going to see if you guys had the same experience if you happened to watch it last night, or because it wasn't on regular network TV. It was on. But I watched it on Amazon Prime. I think is what we were watching it on. So I mean, teach their own on that. So. But anyways, hey, hopefully you got some good things going on today. And over the weekend, I didn't do a whole lot over the weekend. We just kind of took it easy. Friday and Saturday night, we had some rain and ran around Saturday quite a bit, getting a few things for our vacation trip. And other than that, not too much going on. Addison, my granddaughter, went to a baseball game Friday night. But her and Kyle and her sisters and Daniel and Caitlin and whatnot, and they actually got lucky enough to be drawn into. Addison won a bunt cake that's called. I know some of you guys probably never heard of that, but I don't know. Is that local?
It's a,
Is that
I think it's
that's
a
a chain?
type of cake.
Yeah, it's yeah. So it's a chain. So some of you guys may be familiar with that, but they were giving away five different people were going to win a bunt cake once a month for a year. So she got hers.
Yeah,
So,
I
anyways,
think Brooklyn's got some rights to those cakes too, though.
yeah. Yeah, why? Tell me.
She was the one sitting in the chair when they actually.
Oh, she she was in the, so it was Addison's ticket,
Yeah,
and Brooklyn was in a chair. Addison
yeah.
wasn't
So
there.
everybody had went to the restroom, so it was me and Brooklyn sitting down there, and the
Oh,
lady comes down, which I had no idea she was with the bats, but I kind of assumed.
yeah,
And she came down and was like, "Is your family going to be coming back?" And I was like, "Yeah," because when someone comes down and asks you a question, they're like, it kind of threw me off. I was confused
yeah,
what was going on. And then she was like, talking to Brooklyn, she said, "Can you sit here?" And it was talking about the seat, Addison's seat, because
yeah,
that's the one that they had specifically drawn, which I didn't know all this at this point.
yeah.
And she just like went back up to her place, wherever, up the stairs. And I just was like thinking, what's going on here? Like, first, my thought was,
Did they think you were joking them when they came back down that she had won it? Kyle and the rest of them
what do you?
that she had won the
Well,
cake.
no, all this hadn't even happened yet. Like the cake winning happened when they came back down.
Oh,
Kyle
okay.
apparently he wasn't. I don't think he came back down, but everybody else had come back down.
Oh, okay.
And so Addison then comes back down. And or no, before Addison comes down, Brooklyn, she says to Brooklyn, because I like turned around a little bit to see where this lady went. And she's like, "You can move back after, or you can move back now," something like that. I can't, it was just a really weird thing. So then Addison comes back, she sits in her chair, then everybody else a couple minutes later comes back. And then all of a sudden they say on like the speaker, for the winner of the thing, it's this aisle, this row, this chair. And I'm like, oh, that's us. Like no one else apparently realized that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's us. But then before I can even like turn back around, the guy's over there with the
Was it our
microphone.
regular seats or was
Yeah, it
the,
was the regular seats.
was it?
We
Damn.
were sitting with them because there wasn't anybody
Okay.
that
Yeah.
yeah. And before like I even know what's going on, the guy sitting in Kyle's seat, which was beside me, that does like the not the PA, but the guy that walks
Oh,
around,
yeah.
does
Yeah.
all the entertaining stuff. He's sitting beside me with a microphone, and he's like, "What's your?" He's something like, uh, "So is chocolate chip your favorite bundt cake?" And I'm just like so thrown off. I was like, yes." And Caitlin's over there like raspberry, and I'm like, I don't know. You talked to the wrong person about cakes and about like I feel like maybe you should give like a
That's
5 second
hilarious,
warning
man.
before you just went live on this because I had no
Yeah.
idea what was going on.
So did they end up giving you the kind you like then?
No, they didn't give it. They was just it was just like
Oh, it was just an ad
it was
lib.
like we're just talking to the
Yeah.
people that just won this, but I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just felt as we won it 10 seconds ago or less, and all of a sudden there's a camera and a microphone in front of my face, and I'm like, what's
That's
happening
funny.
right now?
Well, that's why they were making sure everybody was going to be there when they
Yes,
announced it. So somebody was in the seat.
yes.
Okay.
It was just
I get it.
it was
That was
way too
probably
fast
pretty
for me.
fun. Yeah.
I
But
felt like I got punked.
of all the people in the, yeah, in the stadium, probably, yeah. Oh my God. To ask about a cake.
And then
Yeah.
they stopped doing the interviews, and I was like, I'm probably the reason they stopped that because they realized that this could happen.
Oh, shoot. That's funny. You say, no, actually, I like a mandarin orange cake. My
True.
mom used to make for me. Oh, Lordy. Well, it sounds like y'all had a decent time, man. So they got to do that. Then, Kyle, did you have to take a loan out while you were down there? So he said it wasn't too bad on snacks and drinks, and that's a good deal. Good deal. So, yeah, yeah. So, anyways, well, that sounds like y'all had a good time with that, and I guess they get a bunt cake. You got to go. One thing they don't do though, I remember Holly one year. So I don't know where she got hers from though. I don't think it was down there, but yeah, she was like, yeah, when they opened up a new one, she was one of the people that stood in line. But they give you one a month, but if you miss a month, you can't go the next month and
Right.
get two. So,
You
anyways,
also get a free one on your birthday month, so you can really,
oh, do you?
yeah, you can
Just
make it work.
anybody
Yep.
arbitrarily?
Mm-hmm. Go
Ain't,
in there and they'll
ain't
give you a
that
little.
something? That's pretty cool. So that definitely get you in there. But they do have some decent cake for real.
I don't think I've ever had it.
Fat kids like cake. That song? Fat kids like cake.
Never heard it.
Oh yeah, it is.
I mean, I've heard people say it. I've just,
Yeah,
or
I don't know who sings it or whatnot. Katie's got it. 50 cent. It's a 50 cent song. I love you like a fat kid loves cake. So, anyways, let's don't get into that side of this. We'll be getting hate mail for talking about weight challenge to people. Oh my gosh. Uh, Seth says they're coming to Cosmic Golf in June up here. Maybe it'll be cake night.
There you go.
There you go. Cosmic
I guess that's
Golf.
like dark, like
That'll be fun. Yeah, I guess you
golfing at night.
golf with night, I guess. Seth, is that a full blown like golf course or is that putt putt? Just just curious. But or is it baseball? Well, wouldn't it be cosmic baseball? Oh, okay, yeah, he said baseball. That'd be cool. I bet our tickets for that. I bet somebody's already snatched them up. Oh, it's a separate game. I got you. Okay. Well, cool, Seth. That'll be fun, man. That'll be fun for sure. So let's take a short break. Eric and Jennifer had a pretty good discussion going on today, Daniel, and it was kind of neat. They were talking about AI. One of the things they were talking about, in the business, and how AI is, everybody's got their own opinion, and and that's okay. Uh, Good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is. But I brought up some very valid points. And then also, it was really neat when I turned on Turfs Up this morning, and I heard them talking about that. It was really neat because I saw on the national news where it was three or four of the commencement speakers at some of the larger national colleges, right? The speakers that they had, and I want to say one of them might have been with either Google or uh, I don't know. Well known, only I can't remember what it was right now. But, anyways, uh, three of them were talking about AI as part of their commitment speech, and actually started getting boos from the graduates. And one of the comments the from one of the speakers was, the AI is going to be the new industrial revolution, for the country, and you're going to be part of that. And you're making a very positive thing, and they all started booing. And Katie made a pretty good point this morning about that. What's yours, Daniel? Katie's was, well, they just graduated and spent a lot of money to get a degree. And I guess they don't want to feel like they're getting immediately replaced, you know?
Possibly, maybe.
So, like I said, there were three well-known schools, and I can't remember what they were. I didn't write them down. You can Google it if you want to. I'm not. This isn't a magic trick. I'm not pulling stuff out of my hat. But I thought it was pretty interesting. That three different locations, and maybe a bunch of people talked about it, and they were only three, right? That were got some negative feedback. But I don't know. It was AI is interesting.
Yeah,
I know we use it,
definitely
right? I
a
mean,
game
we
changer.
look at it, and um,
I think there's just so much uncertainty about it that it creates fear.
yeah, it's one of those things where Eric brought up a good point this morning. He said, he's just visualizing, Miss Smith taking a picture of her house out front and saying, "Hey, AI landscape this for me and tell me what it should cost to get it done." So now they're getting a landscape pit, and AI saying, "Hey, this should cost you $5,000." In reality, it's a $10,000 project. So that could certainly be some problems with that. So, Eric and Jennifer, I appreciate that conversation y'all had on AI today on your show. So, if you guys didn't get a chance to go back and take a listen to that show, because it was really good. And it's one of those things. I think, Daniel, you're 100% on target. You know, you like it, but the fear factor involved with it.
Well, some people, yeah, well,
You know,
some people not liking it too, though. It's
so
they think that's bad or gonna do this, that, and the other. I mean, you just don't know what it's gonna do or
yeah,
how it's gonna play out. Or I mean, in theory, it all plays out as technology continues to increase and artificial intelligence increases and robots increase in what they can do and what they're capable of. And I think that's where people really have a lot of the fear is that, like, what do we do? How do we run our world if 33% of people aren't able, don't have jobs, I guess.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's right. Because of
I mean, you just don't know. Like, you just don't know what the future holds in regards to possibilities and opportunities either,
with
right?
that.
Like,
Yeah.
somebody's got to work on the robots, so there's a job creation.
Yeah.
Somebody's got
Well,
to do the
that's what Eric
software
was
for
talking
this.
about. I think he said it was his brother is getting ready to graduate with a degree in AI from
Yeah.
one of the Ivy League schools. And so, yeah, like you said, it's one thing goes by the wayside and something else comes in, an opportunity comes in, and that's a whole lot like any business, right? I mean, we're constantly in that flux of change. And speaking of change, this is pretty crazy. We had Kyle was had somebody interested in some zoysia grass, and he was talking with Stephen about it this morning. They brought over some product for us, and when he was here, and Stephen was telling us, like Daniel, that zoysia grass is like $80 a pound.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that crazy? I
Yeah.
mean, we've never put the first pound of it in, so that's why we didn't know. I mean, we're in a transition zone here. We can grow it, but most people don't like wait until May for it to be green and October it's brown again. But that's just, I had no idea. We're like, man, that's $4,000 a bag, right? I mean, 50
Yeah.
times 80 don't take long to get there, right? Um, so I told everybody around here, y'all, when we were talking about it, I was like, I'm not even so sure I'd trust myself with a $4,000 bag of seed. You know, I mean, could you imagine just a little bit dumping off? So, well, Mike brings up a good point about AI. He says there used to be a whole lot of blacksmith workers and horse wagon repair people too.
Yeah.
You know, so it is things move along. And who thought you'd be paying $80 a pound for seed? Get to Bermuda for 20. Makes that three look pretty good or two look pretty good on a fescue. But it all goes back to, you know, something I want to talk about a little bit today too. And seems like we go down this pricing hole a little bit on all of our shows realistically. But I was in Kohl's, the department store, Saturday, and there was a lady working there, Daniel. And I don't know if you heard me talking about this morning or not, but there was a lady working there. And actually, I think she worked at St. Bernard. I
Huh.
think she was one of the teachers at St. Bernard. But anyway, she had a shirt, just a Catholic school here that two of our kids went to. But she had a shirt on that said Cole's Volunteer.
Huh.
So, and Tab and I were checking out, and I saw that on her shirt. And it wasn't like a little tag that said her name and volunteer. It was pre-printed on the back, logoed Cole's Volunteer. And I got to thinking about that. My mind went that way, right? And I came up. I thought of this real quick. Here's the question, I guess, and you guys tell me what y'all think of this. But when I saw that, immediately I thought, how does that apply to the landscaping industry? You know, and what I came up with is, you know, how do you charge? Do you charge like a pro, but get compensated or work as a volunteer realistically? In other words, do you have a professional methodology to price the job, or you just throwing darts at pricing and feel like you're working as a volunteer at the end of the day? Because when you look at the statistics in the landscaping industry, I mean, a lot of it does appear to be volunteer work because we're failing at such a high number. So I guess what it really boils down to is something Craig sent me last week, and it played perfectly into this mindset. And I wanted to share it with you guys. But somebody posted on a social media down there within his social media community. Not sure where it came from, other than Craig sent to me, it forwarded a picture to me on it. But it says, "I'm curious what the average rates are looking like now. Drop your minimum below." And the guy's got a quarter acre, half acre, 3/4 acre, and mowing, fertilization, weed control. And he said also, here's something that I really want to find out your all's opinion on this as well. Number one is it's going to be different for everybody. That's number one, or should be. Okay. But this guy says it'd be interesting to see how every market is different. And I agree with that. Every market is different, but markets within a single market are different. But the last thing on this post that really is a little troublesome to me with it, and it's the same thing that we talk about frequently here on Turf's Up, is he said, and very professional, he says, let's keep it respectful and help each other stay competitive. So it's like, hey, let's all share what we're charging. Well, that's the methodology that most of the industry is using anyway. I mean, why do we want to keep it competitive when, I mean, I've talked about this 1,000 times. You guys have heard me talk about it, and we're going to touch on it a little bit right now again for our new listeners too. And just as a booster shot, if you will, for those of us that have been doing this a length of time, that we don't have to remain competitive with a group that has no idea why they charge what they charge. That's just the reality of it. The only person you need to be competitive with is the market in which you're going after. What's the client base that you're going after, and what's their perception of a competitive price? And that is two different things. That is two different things. That goes back to price shoppers, right? I mean, value, we'll be looking for, value or cost. And that is where the consumer will tell you, hey, this is what I'm looking for, and you're too damn high compared to everybody else that I've talked to. Well, that's okay. That's okay. So it's up to you as the business owner, and I'm glad Craig sent this to me, but it's up to you as the business owner to look at something and see, if you've been getting your property treated by somebody, or you're not seeing the results that you want, then obviously the price being charged is not enough to do the job right. Or maybe it is enough to do the job right, but there's some issues within the company where they don't care. Or the mix rate's not right, the application's not right. They've got very little concern for calibration. There's a lot of things that become involved in the end result when it comes to fertilization weed control. Timing, so lots of things get involved. So just to say, hey, what are y'all charging for a quarter acre, a half acre, whatever, 3/4 acre, 100 acres? I think we ought to put that shirt on that says I'm a volunteer. I really do. I really do believe that. So that made me go out and look a little bit harder at some things, and guess what? I found another one. And this is one that I know a lot of people will not admit to this. but we're going to talk about it for a second and then I'll move on, I promise. But this says, hey, let me ask you a question. I haven't gone up pretty much forever, but I've got to now. How do I go about announcing it, or do I just do it? So, in other words, what this guy's saying, or this girl's saying, not a name with it. That's all right. I didn't copy the name with it because I didn't want to do that. But what is that person really saying? That's what I want you to think about. Hey, I've not went up in pricing. And I'm not saying you've got to have a price increase twice a year, once a year, every 100 years. Who should know when they need to have a price increase? That's right, you. You should know when you need to have a price increase. Not just because of fuel. Throw fuel out the window. Let's just say everybody gets free fuel for a year. Be a pretty good thing. But so don't look at it from a fuel cost standpoint. Just look at it from what am I charging? How does somebody think they can go? He doesn't say, or she doesn't say how long it is, but what does this mindset tell you about? They ought to be wearing that shirt. I'm a volunteer. What's your opinion, Daniel?
I mean, it's definitely
And we hear it a lot.
yeah, it's obviously you don't probably know, like you said, your cost. Because if you knew your cost, you would see it going up and know that, oh, I need to do it now, like 2 years ago or whenever.
Whenever.
And so I think a way to look at it, if you don't want to look at it from a business perspective, even if you're a business owner, is if I was an employee, would I be happy or satisfied making the same thing that I made 5 years ago, 10 years, whatever? Or would I want an increase from what I was making in
Yeah.
2015 or whatever?
Corey says they're saying, I just realized I messed up. Help me fix it. That could be part of it. Again, like I said the other day when we were talking about this, the good thing about fuel costs going up like it has is it's made people look at their company. It always does.
And I guess the next
You
question
know,
would be like, well, how much do you need to go up?
but then yeah, and
And
that's
how
a
do you know
video.
that?
That's the video we did.
Yeah.
That's in the
And not just for
profit
yeah, and not even just for the gas, but like
everything.
for everything. How so you think you should go up, which is okay to think that, which may or may not even be right based on your own actual guesstimation at your price. Like maybe you guesstimated high enough to where it's not actually impacting you,
Right.
Like maybe that's the case. So maybe you don't need to go up just because you see that prices are going up. Maybe it's very unlikely because of that mindset leads to going lower, but maybe you don't need to raise your prices and it's something you don't need to worry about.
Yeah.
But you're not going to know that until you really truly sit down and know your cost.
Right. And to Corey's point, maybe it is somebody obviously reaching out for some help. And maybe once they understand that, hey, this is how we can this is how I can fix this, then the light bulb turns on. Because I do believe, Daniel, and I don't know, give me your opinion on this. I do believe that everybody has an epiphany at some point in their business. I really do believe that. For some people it happens quicker than others, you know, and well, I guess I'm going to contradict what I just said right now. Some people don't do it because they just fell out, if you will. They just fell out. Not fall out. Yes, they fall out, but they fell out. They just succumbed to the circumstances and didn't make the changes. Like this person here says, "Hey, I've never had an increase in price, but now no, I need to. How do I announce it?" Well, You know, for a lot of people that maintain and stay in business, let me rephrase how what I said a minute ago. I think those are the people that have an epiphany. This might
Right.
be this person's epiphany.
You can only make it so long without having an epiphany,
Right.
or else you're probably either going to just be luckily scraping by, or you're going to fall out.
Or you fall out. Those are the only two options. And then the next thing is Seth said, yeah, 100% everybody has an epiphany moment. And
I think there's even two epiphanies that happen too, or two struggles or hurdles. And one is figuring out or realizing that you do need to know your cost. And the second one is actually implementing it.
yes.
Because, okay, it's great. I've realized something I didn't know before. I'm going to set myself apart. I'm going to know something that most people don't know. All that's fun and good and motivating. But then you sit down and you might realize, oh, I have to run my business a certain way now for this to actually be a system and not just because there's a difference in knowing it and implementing it, right?
Yes.
And okay, I
I
know my
think
costs need to be X number of dollars per hour, which, means X number of dollars per lawn. Now you have to realize, now I have to be a better salesperson, or I have to have a better, a different niche of customers. So you're going to have to make some changes. You have to lose a few customers, which is a big fear for everyone, et cetera, on that hard line of things that go from epiphany to actual, playing out of the circumstances to then being more comfortable where you are within your business.
you're
It's
right.
not just I'm like, it's great that we have a tool that you can sit down and figure this out in an hour, like we're talking about, before, and you really can. But then that's where the consulting and the other part kicks in of, well, how do I actually implement this? And that's where a lot of people truly probably, I don't know a percentage, but a good portion of people, I bet, that really figure that out don't actually end up implementing it because it's too much change and fear and different.
Yeah.
The way they're going to have to actually run their business now, or they would have to run their business to meet that new number, doesn't equate in their brain to what they think they can do.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, taking that and elaborating a little bit on with that, Daniel, I think you're 100% that, you know, you realize this person has realized, hey, I need to make a change. Will they make a change? You know, are they willing to go ahead and make that change? And if they don't, it's going to directly affect them and their business and their family, and if they have employees, all the employees involved. So, the point is, too, when you say, how do you announce it? You just do it. Number one, the very next person you talk to comes in at a new rate. I mean, that's number one with it. But secondly, you've got to have some methodology in place to know what that percentage needs to be. You can know you're short. You can know, hey man, it's just not working out. I know every month I'm short, or you got a consistent problem over and over and over again. But until you sit down and you figure out, hey, what am I short? How much am I short? Then you can look at, hey, how am I going to implement it? But definitely you implement it right away, and you're probably going to lose a few customers. But the thing to remember too is there's plenty of work out there. There's plenty of work out there for each and every one of us at any different price level we want to provide our services at. And that too is what I really think some people have a problem understanding.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
even going back to what we are talking about before with AI, like this is a great question for artificial intelligence right here. Like, how do I actually tell my customers I need to raise prices 10, $5 per whatever
Yeah.
service? And not to say that you're going to just literally copy and paste a response like that, but that is a good way to use artificial intelligence.
Right.
It's a great way to come up with some good ideas that probably come from some pretty good sources of, you know, customer interaction, human psychology, blah blah blah, and just utilizing tools, utilize the tool that is artificial intelligence for something to help you. If you're not great at coming up with something like that, with writing something or whatever, that can be a good tool to use.
Yeah, absolutely. With that being said, let's take a short break. We'll be right back. At some point in time, you just got to move forward. You got to know that, hey, this is what I got to do. This is how I'm going to do it, and I'm going to make the changes. And I've got to make this change, because if I don't make the change, things aren't going to change. And, there's a million sayings with that, on different things, but that is the reality of it. And, this guy even goes on to part of his post says, I've talked to a few of my clients about raising prices and nobody was shocked or at all with it. And I think that's the thing. Are you giving yourself a fair opportunity, or you the guy that's going to run around with the shirt on that says I'm a volunteer? And I can't believe I got this much thought process out of that lady's shirt, but that I felt like a volunteer. I really did. I'll be the first one to put my name out there. You know, I put my name out there first. That I got my pricing wasn't right. Knew I needed to change it, but I was scared to do it. And then once I decided I was going to do it, the fear factor of how many jobs was I going to lose, and what I found out was kind of like what this guy had in his post, that hey, most people were okay with it. That is the same exact thing I ran into. Most people were okay with it. You know, and so take your volunteer shirt off. That's what we're going to talk about today. Take your volunteer shirt off. Understand that, hey, if you want to be paid as a professional, you got to look professional and act professional. And part of that is understanding, of course, the cost process of your business, and knowing that sometimes it is necessary to have a price increase. And your customers that appreciate the service that they're getting, whether it's fertilization or weed control or landscaping or mowing, whatever it may be, you know, uh, they are willing to pay a fair market value that is perceived in their mind as fair. And I think as business owners, too many times we have Walmart mentality, but we don't have Walmart's budget and Walmart's demand, if you will. Of, hey, we can beat anybody's price. And, we're not selling millions of widgets. That's what I want you guys to remember. We don't have multiple locations. We're not selling millions of widgets and something that we can take a very small margin on, or the meet or beat concept, right? How many times don't you see that in everything? Everything. Not in that's not just the landscaping industry, that's a lot of industries. Well, hey, what are you paying? We'll meet or beat their price. The reality of it is that's just going to put you straight out of business. It's almost like working for family, right? It's a, it's another thing. I mean, I hate working for family. You know, family. Hey, what's the family discount? You always hear that. Hey, man, what's the family discount? And I get that. I understand that. But wouldn't you think realistically, and I can tell you this, and my experience in working with family, family is some of the hardest people in the world to work with. Number one, they want uh, everything for nothing, not literally in most cases, but and some do want it for nothing. But they just want more than let me put it this way: the expectations a lot of times are higher. I'd be curious to know if you guys have run into this with trying to work for family. Is the expectations are higher? They want to pay less, when in reality, being that they are family, they ought to be willing to pay, man. Charge me what you need to charge me. Support your local family, for goodness sake. You know, don't say, hey, what's the family discount and how much am I going to save, on this? There's exceptions to everything, right? But I mean, the reality of it is friends and family can be some of the most critical people to work for. and least profitable people to work for. And you need that volunteer shirt back on, is what it amounts to. Really, you need to stop selling yourself short. Stop selling yourself short in your business. And whatever that means for you, is what I want it to mean for you. I don't have to sit here and bring up 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 examples, because we certainly could, but I want you to think about it a little bit. I mean, we're in the thick of our spring, right? Things are rolling now. Things are rolling pretty good, and you got to ask yourself: are you going to keep that volunteer shirt on, or do you want to be treated more as a professional? Because here's what I, honest to God, and I can say this in good faith about our industry. You know, our industry as a whole works very, very hard. You know, we we may not be the greatest profit producers on the planet, but what we are is very hard workers. And the only person that can change that mindset for you is you. And I want you guys to look at that honestly and ask yourself, hey, what can I do differently beginning right now, not tomorrow, not the next day? You know, it was kind of like Daniel with his show today talking about, you can commit 2% of your waking time to some exercise. You know, you can commit a very small percentage of your time as a business owner, and it needs to be some, but hey, start small, right? I mean, that, start with a small percentage of your time looking at not just the pricing model that you're utilizing, but because the work ethic's there in most cases. Now, I know some of y'all probably laughing and saying, man, you ought to see some of these guys in my market. The work ethic's not there. And there's a small percentage of that, right? But the reality of it is, take the time, make the effort to look at your business and ask yourself, what can I do different and better starting today to make my business better? And a lot of that has to do with confidence. Are you willing to, put the confidence out there? Let yourself gain more confidence through training, education, and knowledge, so you can take your volunteer shirt off and be more professional in everything that you do. And that's when you're going to feel better as a person. That's when you're going to feel better as a company. You're going to feel better as a business. You know, Goes back to what my dad just said, and Seth just sent this to me. Seth, that's crazy. My dad used to always say, if you take care of the little things, the big things take care of themselves. Seth said it a little different way. Seth said it, small changes today will encourage big changes tomorrow. Same concept. But what we got to do is give ourselves the opportunity. And are you positioning yourself with the opportunity to do it different and better? It goes back to, if you had one chance, one opportunity, would you take it? Absolutely. Take that opportunity. Do it different, better than the way you were doing it this morning. And guess who sees the benefit of that? You do. You do. So that means we're going to throw away our volunteer shirts. We're going to treat family and friends just like everybody else, and they should treat us with that same respect. Heck, they know that you're a small business. They should not want to hammer you over price, and then have higher expectations for less money. But that's the way that goes. So what you got to do is put your big boy pants on and decide, hey, yeah, be happy to give you a friends and family discount, but price the job accordingly to what your costs are, what you need your margin to be, So you're there to help them. So, with that being said, Craig, I want to thank you for providing the uh, the sheet on that, and just to help us all a little bit. Just to help us all a little bit, be better at what we do and why we do it and how we do it, and know that you guys keep all that input coming in. You guys is what make my show what it is. I appreciate you guys. We're going to talk a little bit on Wednesday about picking the right equipment dealer. And I want you to put your mind around that a little bit. And I'd appreciate some input from you guys on that. So, yep, we're going to talk about how do you go about picking the right equipment dealer? Do you really know your dealer? Does your dealer know you? That's what we're going to talk about on Wednesday. So, you guys have a great day. Stay tuned to here on Turf Stop Radio all day long. We appreciate you listening to Profit Time. And remember, profit is not a dirty word.